Hey, Joy, it's your friend Vic calling from Atlanta. Anytime I get to do something with you, it's a great day, my friend, and I appreciate you having me do this. As I understand, you have my dear friend Billy Wardlow on your show tonight. I don't know if you know, but in 1992, I had the great honor of coaching this young man and tutoring privately as well, baseball and life wise. And to say that he has turned into a phenomenal human being is an understatement. I can't tell you how proud I am of him, of his accomplishments, not only in high school, but in junior college and at Tampa, and then, of course, his career with the Blue Jays. I love this kid like he was my own, and thankfully he calls me Dad. Billy, you're on with the best. Have a great one, brother.
Thanks for tuning in to the Joy of Baseball podcast. It's all about baseball, from the sandlots to the big leagues and everything in between. I'll share my joy for the game with you, and whether you're a fan of baseball or good storytelling, you'll be entertained, and each episode will bring a little joy to your day. So grab you some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Let's talk baseball. This episode is sponsored by Ramona's, promoting Conch Pride since 1971. How we doing, baseball fans? I got a good one for you today. I got Billy Wardlow. He's been in baseball all his life, from little leagues to the pros, and now he's got 25 years plus with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he's a Key West native. Welcome to the show, Billy.
Thank you for having me, Joy. I appreciate it.
Hey, I don't know if you noticed anything, but how about this hat?
Nice. I'm glad it showed up in Key West. Finally got there, so it's nice to be able to actually see our logo on a hat with the World Series.
Absolutely. And I can only imagine. It's been a long time since my Yankees were in it.
I know we've been trying to do this session for a while, and it got pushed back, and some of my travels pushed it back. And then as the season progressed, the heat of rivalry between the Blue Jays and the Yankees, I wanted to see how it played out. Played out a little bit in our favor this year. I know you had to do some grieving over it, so I let that play out as well, and then some World Series travel and some travel after that, and glad we're finally able to get this recorded and get it out there and share some stuff with everybody that's involved in baseball, wherever this reaches, especially back home and whatever, wherever it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you for sure. It was worth the wait. I think we've been talking about this since spring training, and like you said, friendly rivalry between us, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. But you guys absolutely got the best of us. You took the lead and you never looked back. A hell of a playoff run to the World Series. And let's start right there. Tell me about the World Series. What was that like?
It was a ride, man. I went to the playoffs in 15. We went to playoffs in 15 and 16. In 2015, we lost in the championship series to the Royals. And I thought that was a great experience. And making it to the World Series. I tell everybody we basically played 8.5 games. Not everybody can say they make it a 7-game series and play 8.5 games. So it was a great series for baseball. It was a great series for baseball fans. It was just great baseball that was played. There wasn't any blowouts. Everything, you got to see everything. Extra innings, small ball. You saw errors. You seen home runs. You seen everything that had to do with baseball, you got to see.
It truly was one of the most entertaining series that I can remember. I mean, it really, like you said, had everything. You talking about 8.5 games. That's that 18-inning game. Was that game 3 that went 18 innings?
Yes, it was game 3. That was a long night. We traveled the night before, and we got into LA. We took a red eye, and we got into LA early in the morning. So it was a long day, and we didn't expect that. East Coast time, it was probably 3 a.m., I believe. But it was a long game. And I mean, by the end of the game, the second half of the game, we had, a lot of our backup guys in, and they held tight. And LA had guys on second and third, no outs, inning after inning, and we kept getting out of it. And we couldn't put it away, but it was a hell of a game.
It really was. I was up all night. Everybody on Facebook, are you watching this? It was crazy. And then you couldn't go to sleep. After, I think I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning. It was what a rush. I can't imagine being there. Did I see a picture of you and your dad?
Were you able to take my dad came to 1, 2, 6, and 7. So he was in Toronto. He didn't come to LA, but he was in Toronto.
How special was that to be able to bring your dad along?
Oh man, undescribable. It was cool.
I know that him and your whole family, and you're from a huge family here in Key West. Everybody was so proud of you. I mentioned this earlier. I think all of Key West is all of a sudden a Blue Jays fan. You know, forget who we usually root for. We were rooting for you all the way. And there was something really cool. Conch baseball. They did one of those things they do on social media, and they asked the kids, "Oh, who's gonna win the series?" And I think every one of them said the Blue Jays.
A lot of them. I'll give props to Jack Niles. He threw my name in there one time, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's my
Appreciate the
catcher.
following. Yeah, I appreciate the following. It's amazing. Everybody I run into, says the same thing that they're pulling for the Blue Jays. I don't think a lot of people saw us get in there, earlier in the season, and then as the playoffs came and the World Series came, I don't know if people thought that we were going to make it past 4 games, but we made it interesting.
You certainly did, and it makes looking forward to this next season even more interesting, right?
Makes it real interesting. One thing I got to finally experience is playing baseball right up until November, which gets
Must be
things going.
exhausting.
Gets things going pretty quick because now got 3 days till the winter meeting starts, and once the winter meetings gets here, it's game on. So it gets here quick.
Hey, that's good stuff. And we should probably back up a little bit. Tell me and everybody watching, what is your role with the Blue Jays? And tell me a little bit about your career path in professional baseball.
After I played at University of Tampa, I coached there for a year and a half, 2 years. I got a job over with the Yankees back in spring training in '98. From there, I worked a couple years in the minor leagues. I worked in '99 with the Braves, and then I got this job. My first season was 2000, so I got hired in December of '99. I'm the minor league equipment coordinator, so I'm in charge of the equipment at our complex here in Florida for spring training and everything that goes on here. It's a rehab center. It runs 365 days a year. We have an academy in the Dominican Republic with 2 teams. So we have about 150, 200 personnel players down there that I oversee with equipment, 5 minor league teams here in North America, and the scouting department for their pre-draft workouts. And now we have probably, I think, 4 scout teams. So now with how travel ball is set up around the country, and they have these perfect game tournaments and tournaments around, we've developed a few scout teams ourselves. A lot of the major league teams have done it. So I oversee all the equipment, uniforms for that as well.
That's got to be a wild job. I can't imagine the number of pieces of equipment for that big of an organization.
Oh, yeah, it's quite a bit. The logistics of getting everything. We have a minor league team in Vancouver, Buffalo, New York, Manchester, New Hampshire. We have 2 teams here locally in Dunedin. And then, like I said, our 2 teams in the Dominican Republic. So logistics of it all, getting it there, making sure everything's there on time, the season starts, everything behind the scenes, make it run.
So I don't know if you've said this or not, but how many people work with you in your department to be able to make all that happen?
Not as many as I wish.
Yeah.
We've
Are
got
you
about,
hiring?
my crew my crew are probably about 7 or 8 guys. Wish we had a few more. It's better than what it was. We used to do it with 3 or 4, and we've increased it a little bit, but we make it work. And my crew makes my life easy. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't been here this long. And one of my guys has been with me 25 years, so it's a pretty good. We have a pretty good thing going here.
Sounds like it. And now that you got rings and trophies and things like that to carry around, maybe you can hire a few more people.
We're trying. We're trying.
Hey, so I put out a promo on social media yesterday, and I said, hey, I'm going to have Billy on the show. Any questions? And Monica Santana, another Key West girl that lives up in Tampa, Bubba's wife, she wanted to know, what's your favorite part of the job?
I would have to say the relationships that I've built and that I continue to build with players. Perfect example, George Bell, 1988 AL MVP. First player from the Dominican Republic to win the MVP in the major leagues. He was coaching here when I started, And him and I created a really good friendship. And to this day, I'm at the point now to where I help him organize his golf tournament every year. So 3 or 4 years, 5 years now, I've been doing this golf tournament. It's cool how I grew up watching these guys, and I now work with a lot of them. I now get to do golf tournaments and playing golf tournaments with a lot of the guys that I grew up watching, the older guys. I mean, guys that played in the 80s and 90s that I grew up just admiring. I get to, I'm with every day. And then now the younger crew that's coming up, the younger guys that are coming up, the relationships you build with them, and you get to see those guys every day, you get to see what they put into it every day. So that's one of the best things, and can't really complain that I get to come to work at a baseball field every day. My office is at a baseball field, and coming from Key West, you can't really beat that.
Yeah, right. Do you ever just pinch yourself and like, is this really happening?
Many times.
So speaking of the relationships that you build, I'm curious, are there any players that you've watched come up through the system from single A or even the developmental leagues and now they've made it to the show, and is there any names we'd recognize? And how special is that?
Well, a lot of the guys on the team this year, I mean, those guys, you got Kirk and Yesevich and Schneider, Archer, Lou Hardy, all those guys, they've come up through here. And then across the league, we have, I mean, there's so many guys across the league. Gabriel Moreno's and Gurriel's out with the Diamondbacks, and Teoscar Hernandez is out with the Dodgers. And I mean, the list goes on and on with the guys in other organizations. I mean, and it's not just the players, it's coaches as well. It's ex-players. Ricky Romero and he was one of our first round picks, starting pitcher for us for years. Him and I are really good friends. Aaron Sanchez, good friend of mine. Jose Batista, Encarnacion, all those guys, over the years, those guys have become friends, and it's been a pretty cool experience. I mean, story about Batista, last year, my nephew was in town, and I called Batista and asked him about some cards because my nephew's gotten into card collecting. And first thing he said was, "Come to the house." So I was like, I can't, I told him, I can't come over to your house. And it's a Friday night, 8 o'clock. My parents were in town. My sister was in town, and they looked at me like I was crazy. It's like, Jose wants us to come to the house. So I was like, I cannot bring my nephew to your house right now. It's 7 o'clock on a Friday night, 8 o'clock on a Friday night. And we did. We ended up going over there. So it's just, those are the they're special people. They're friends of mine, and I'm very, very, very lucky and fortunate to be in the position I'm in and to have those relationships.
Yeah, what an experience. You we talked a little bit about the equipment already and the volume. I'm just curious because baseball is a game of numbers. Do you have any numbers of how many bats and gloves and balls are used in a game or a season? You have any numbers to share with me?
I order about, for my minor leagues, we go through, 100, probably close to 8,000, I would say, dozen baseballs in the minor leagues. That's across, I mean, you're playing 160 games at 5 levels, and then you're playing 80 games at 3 levels. And then you have spring training, and then you have extended spring training. You have, training goes over here at the complex all year long. Bat wise, we go through a few, the numbers of the bats have come down. There's a whole new science behind bats, and the wood has changed, and the way they measure wood and the way that they turn the wood these days and the way it's balanced and density of the wood, that's changed. So the breakage is a little different on the bats as well these days. So we're not going through as many as we used to.
I was going to ask you, like, what's the average number of bats a player goes through in a season?
Differs.
Yeah.
It depends. Some guys in the big leagues might go through a dozen. They might not even go through a dozen. Guys in the minor leagues might go through 3, 4, 5. You can't really put a number on that. There's too many variables.
Sure, and just like we talked about the numbers in baseball and analytics, I'm sure the job, since you've been in the league, 25 years, the job's changed. There's a lot more technology and IT involved, keeping track, I would imagine, with all that equipment and everything, right, to help you with some of it.
Oh yeah, my first 3 years I didn't have a computer. I did everything by hand, and I still have my first budget that I did by hand. So now I have a computer. Now we're on it doing this. So yeah, I now I have spreadsheets and charts and all that kind of good stuff to take care of things. But it has gotten a lot bigger as well. Like I said, that we have scouting department stuff. I mean, I don't know, probably 20 pages deep on a spreadsheet on my budget now. So
And then the other thing I thought I wanted to ask you about, baseball. There's a lot of superstition in baseball, just like me and you not talking during the playoffs, right? I didn't want to mess up your mojo, right? But baseball players, baseball fans are superstitious. I'm curious, do you see that when in terms of equipment? Making sure that players have certain bats to keep that streak alive and that kind of thing. Any funny stories to
you
share?
have to. You have to. There's shirts, shirts that aren't washed, and certain hats and batting gloves, and pants are ripped. Don't sew them. I mean, there's leave my pants alone. Don't touch them. Don't sew them. Leave them like they are. And people wonder sometimes, while they're in the major leagues, they have holes in their pants. That there's sometimes those guys want those holes in those pants. So, well, there's a lot of things. Helmets getting cleaned. There's pine tar on helmets. Sometimes you clean the helmets and polish them and make them look good, and players don't want you to touch them. So there's a lot of little things, a lot of nuances. There's some guys you don't deal with, some guys you don't go around. Is leaving the starting pitcher alone a thing? I think it is. I treat it that way. I always have. I learned from Roy Halladay when he was here, so I've always followed that, and I leave the starting pitchers alone, so I don't I don't go near them.
And I'm sure it helps that you grew up in baseball, right? So
Gives you a little bit of feel of the game.
is everybody on your team and your department former ball players?
For the most part, yes. We have a couple that are not.
Because it
But
might
for
be
the
that
most
kind of
part,
stuff would be hard for someone to understand who didn't grow up around it.
yeah. But for the most part, they all were in sport or they've worked in other sports. I have one guy that works with us. He worked in hockey. One guy's from soccer. So they have a feel of sports. They have a feel of inside the locker room or clubhouse area. So that helps a lot.
Any insider information you think they're gonna keep Bo and Vladdy together?
That's way above my pay grade.
I
We'd
sure
like
hope
we
so.
we'd like to see it, but that's way far. That's so far away from me. I'm at the bottom. I'm just trying to keep it together. I try to keep all the pieces together on my end.
Yeah, yeah, I imagine. But that I think that is pretty special that they played so long together because you don't see that kind of thing in sports anymore.
No,
With
and the cool thing about them was when they came up, we also had Biggio here, and we also had Clemens, Casey Clemens. So it was pretty neat to have. We had the whole infield was covered with from first to third with Vlad, Biggio, Chet, and Clemens. So it was a pretty cool little thing we had going there for a while.
you ever take infield with them?
Many years ago, I stopped. Getting too old for that. I used to throw for probably the first 5 or 6 years. I used to throw BP a lot. I used to go outside and throw batting practice. I used to throw to the major league team when they would come to town to play the Rays. That was a cool experience in itself. But no more. I gotten too old for that. I could probably still do it, and I do sometimes go out in the cages and have to show the young guys that every once in a while I can make contact. But at least I can still make contact. It's not the best, but my hand-eye coordination is still there.
That's good stuff. Let them know who they're dealing with, right? Because here in Key West, you were a standout from Kennedy Drive to Rex Weech Field. And let's talk about playing baseball here in Key West. Who were some of your coaches growing up and some of your teammates?
Oh. Well, let me first, if I can, start by saying this because I thought about this a little bit going into this. When I was growing up, I used to go to the fire station. My dad was in the fire department, and we'd go out to Wickersfield almost every day. And I used to see Ralph Henriquez when he played in the minor leagues, Ralph Senior, and he was out there with I believe Kelly Scott. If you don't remember that name, I think they both went to Mary Immaculate, right? So Ralph Henriquez, Kelly Scott. Growing up, Bubba Sweeting, Brooks, Carey,
Yes.
Richie Garcia, and then there's so many more. Victor Alberry. We have a rich history down there. That's the names that you would always hear. And then it gets into family, and I had my uncles, Dickie, Kenny, my dad, and then Joey, and then my cousin Kenny. That's the baseball side of it. Playing baseball in Key West was so different. And we all strive to play at the high school and to be on that. That was our major leagues. to play with the guys that we had a really good group. My freshman and sophomore year, Judd Wise was our coach,
Yeah.
and
I
I know
had
you've done
Judd
a
on
lot.
the show.
I know you've done a lot with him and the stats and all that. And he was one of the best. I think we lost, if I'm not mistaken, I think we lost 2 games in 2 years. I think we were 21-2 one year, and I think we were 17-0 another year.
That's good baseball right there.
And that was on the JV, and as everything else in the world, the pyramid gets smaller as you get up, and as we get to the varsity, the games get tougher. So the competition, those guys that we were playing in Miami and beating as a freshman and sophomore, they were getting older and they were maturing. Then our record wasn't as good, and we still went to the districts and all that good stuff, but we weren't undefeated anymore. So you could see the pyramid getting smaller, and as you get to college, it's the same way. But Peter Fraga and Willie Zerpa, Jonathan Jolly, Randy Niles, Randy and I were inseparable. Darren Mills, we had Mario Myra, Darren Mills, and myself. Victor was our coach, and he called us the Black Widows.
I heard about that story. Tell me about that.
We all had black gloves. Jeff Hart was at first base, and somehow, some way, the word got around town. And I don't know if it's just people talking, or maybe Victor had the hair salon talking about the Black Widows, but it got around town, and some of the police thought that there was a new gang in town, and this gang was going to be violent. The furthest thing from it. We weren't violent, but we played pretty good ball, and that was the Black Widows. I guess we'll go down to history as being known as a gang. So
Yeah, I heard that story from Victor, who has plenty love for you, and he told me, he said, ask him about the Black Widows, because everybody in the infield have black gloves. And did you guys name yourself that, or did he name you guys that?
it was probably all of us. I mean, I can't remember that, but just those guys. And Coach Fraga. I had my junior year, I had him, and in my senior year, I had Coach Milliken. But we had some good times. I saw Coach Fraga. Coach Fraga, Peter lives here in Tampa now. I've seen Coach Fraga last year a few times around town, or at a baseball game, or at dinner. It's good to still run into him every once in a while, but just the practices and the games and everybody's parents, the dad standing up on the third base line, hanging out and yelling at the umpires. And it was, you can't beat it. And to be honest, that leads into where I am now. I'm going into my 27th year with the Blue Jays. And over the years, 29 in baseball, 27 with Toronto. I've had the unbelievable experience of working with some cool people, ex-big leaguers, ex-GMs. And where I'm going with this is I've talked to Laz Diaz, who's an umpire in the big leagues to this day, Ed Lynch, an ex-GM. The names go on and on and on. Lenny Harris. I mean, if you're in baseball, you know these people. And every time somebody had either once told them I was from Key West, or now I still run into them, the first thing they say is, I can't believe we made it out of Key West alive. We got our butts kicked and we got ran out of town. People were throwing rocks at our buses. People didn't let us sleep at the gym. We would sleep in the gym, and they were knocking on the door, banging on the windows, throwing rocks at the windows. And this is from general managers of major league teams down.
And they still remember.
And they still remember. And that's what, still to this day, I'm in awe and I'm in shock every time, even if I meet somebody new. And I tell them I'm from Key West, and they had played against Key West in high school, or they're from the Miami area and they played in the 70s, 80s. That's the first thing that comes to their mind. And it blows me away that people that high up in baseball know about what we strive for in Key West.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. You've traveled all over the world. You've seen baseball played in so many communities. Is Key West baseball still special? And it sounds like you'd say so. Not just coming from you, but from...
Yeah, I mean, there's good baseball around, but the atmosphere, you can't get that. The atmosphere is unmatchable at that level. You're not going to find that atmosphere anymore.
And like you said, it's not just coming from us, right? Baseball people from all over tell you that.
Yeah, they will tell you. And, and there's a couple schools in Tampa that get crowds, and they get crowds to watch the games. But the passion, they might have a little bit of passion, but they don't have the Key West passion. I promise you that.
It is something special about it. And I know you've been to one of the games and you've seen the K Crew that I hang out with down there behind home plate. We hang in the caves for the pitches and everything. We
Yeah,
have a heck of a good time. If you get back before your season gets too busy, come and sit with us.
I
Spend the
try
inning with us.
try to get down there during the middle of the year. I have to wait till spring training's over.
All right. Well, we'll keep a seat warm for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try to make it for sure. I have family that sits right back there. So
Your Uncle Dennis, we make sure his seat and Miss Ann's seat are saved, reserved for him. If he gets there first, he saves mine and vice versa. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you saw, but he also commented on the post that to tell you he was so proud of you and he loves everything you're doing and you always got a great smile on your face.
cool. Thank you.
That's good stuff. And you speaking of Tampa, I had Miguel on the show and I told him I'm going to go up there. He sent me a Tampa Jesuit hat, and I
Yep.
look pretty good with that hat too.
I saw it.
So I told him I'm going
It's
to.
the same color blue, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, right. I think I might be on to something here. But I told him I'm gonna go up there and try to watch a game. Speaking of your family, your cousin Joey Wardlow, heck of a career he's having at St. Thomas, big standout here in Key West, and just carrying it on as a coach now. I'm hoping that I could get him on the show. I'm not sure if they'll let him be on my show or not. I don't know if I rank high enough in the world for St. Thomas,
Nah,
but
we'll get him on there. We'll get him on.
yeah, maybe we'll have to
But
do a whole Wardlow show,
we could do that. We could do that too.
right?
Yep.
That would.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. So
And while we're speaking of your family, I know we're talking about baseball, but your family is really important in Key West beyond the history that you've contributed to in baseball. But your dad, commissioner for so many years, your Uncle Dennis that we mentioned already, the mayor, prime minister of the Conch Republic, the Wardlows run deep, bringing good stuff to the community. So you're part of a big legacy, whether it's on the baseball field or just on the island. That's why we all feel so proud of you, man. So it's
I
all
appreciate
good
it.
stuff.
Thank you very much.
So with that in mind, um, talking about influencing and how Joey helped you, and you mentioned Ralph, both of you up there in the pros at one point. What would you say to any Key West kids that are watching the show right now, and to hear you coming up on 30 years in professional baseball? Any advice that you might offer them?
Play as long as you can. Doesn't just have to be baseball. Any sport. If you're in sport, play sport. Do something. Stay active. Main thing is you gotta stay in school and make your grades, and then follow your passion. I as every kid's dream, thought I was gonna play in the big leagues. And as I mentioned earlier, the pyramid gets smaller as you get as you get higher and higher. The pyramid gets smaller, and that's in business. It's in sport. It's in everywhere. Just recognize where you are and follow your dreams, and just know that there are many avenues to follow that. I always said I was going to work in the big leagues or play in the big leagues. I didn't make it playing. That pyramid got smaller. I saw the talent was way better, but I fought and I supported everybody, and I didn't complain. I practiced. I stayed around and coached for a couple of years. I got into pro ball, and I figured out a way to make it sustainable and last. And there are many avenues there. There's scouting now with technology. There's so many different avenues and analytics and video. Dietitians are huge in this industry right now. Strength and conditioning trainers. I mean, equipment, coaching. I mean, you name it, it's there. I have people reaching out to me daily. I have a couple people from Key West that I've been in touch with in the past couple of days trying to get in to the baseball world. Make your grades, stay in school, and follow your dream. And the one thing I would say is the one thing I was told is don't burn any bridges. So
Relationships, right? Building
it's very
relationships.
important because one day you're going to have to come back across that bridge, and if it's burned, it won't be there.
That's good advice from a man who knows, who's had much success. Good stuff. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I like to do it with a segment that I call For the Cycle. So I ask you 4 questions, and just like completing a cycle in baseball, it gets harder as you go. Because I have 2 shows, I got the Joy of Baseball and I got the Conch, so I'm going to kind of blend the questions. But it'll start out easy and get a little harder. You up for it?
Let's try it.
All right. So the first question is, what would your walk-up song be?
Jeez, you stumping me right off the bat. I love this life.
That's a good one. Do you see any impact on the minor leagues now that college baseball has NIL and paying players such big salaries basically to play college baseball? Do you see any impact in the minor leagues?
I think guys are signing later, not coming out as early as they used to. Some guys will come out earlier. I think they're staying around for the money. And I think after COVID, when they started contracting the minor leagues, they started forming a couple collegiate leagues and future leagues. I think that's impacted a lot by the NIL and the NCAA.
I've been following more college baseball recently, and I was just curious if that was going to have an impact. The other thing that I feel like I see is guys aren't staying in the minor leagues as long. Is that just the names
They're,
that I hear of, or do you see a
they're
trend there?
pushing them. They're pushing them. It they're getting pushed pretty quickly. May have something to do with this collective bargaining agreement. I'm not positive on that,
Right.
but there's probably some things that I don't know of that are going on with that, and it also has to do with, like I said, after COVID, they started contracting the minor leagues. So we used to have, I think it's 8 minor league teams. Now we're down to 5. We're only allowed to have 165 guys, minor league players in the United States during the season on rosters. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5 teams, and we're allowed to have 165 total during the season. That includes, I'm not sure what the injured list numbers are, but I know it's 165. So we used to have 215, 220. So we had to, you get rid of 40 or 50 guys you had around playing on those 4 or 5 other teams. It's not there anymore. So the mid, it kind of goes from rookie ball straight into low A, whereas we used to have rookie ball, 2 short season teams, and then a low A. So they've kind of got rid of the short season teams. So the guys at rookie ball are going straight to A ball. So those guys at the lower levels are now older, coming from colleges.
So you got to make it quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough spots for you to stay.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it tough.
Somebody's always coming. Like I said, that pyramid is, and these days it's accelerated a lot more. We used to have 40 rounds of the draft. Now we're at 20.
Baseball's tough. That's what
Oh,
they
yeah.
say, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it.
It's a grind, and it's easy to make it to the big leagues for the guys that are in it. But what they say is it's easy to get there. It's harder to stay.
What does Conch pride mean to you?
Passion, deep passion. It goes back to what you're saying about, the family in Key West. My family's always been passionate about the city. And that's just was instilled in me, family and the community. And then it bled into baseball. And Conch Pride is just passion, and it's almost comparable to wearing, any sports logo that you're a fan of, a favorite of. You wear the KW, and you can't beat it. It's indescribable. So I would just say passion.
I love that. And finally, what brings you joy, Billy?
What brings me joy is seeing my family and everybody in my family, just seeing how supportive we are of each other, and how they are supportive of me and we've missed a lot of things. Haven't been able to do a lot of things because of what I do, but this is my job. This is what I do. So having them being able to be part of it and seeing them excited for it, and that's what makes me happy. And just, then that's another one that's just, it's hard to describe. It's heartfelt, and they're all there, and they're all part of it. Everybody, every single one of them. I mean, cousins, aunts, uncles, cousins, kids. I mean, they're all part of it. So
Yeah, the Wardlows come in thick, multi generations. Here we go. Hey, Billy, thank you so much. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot going on in your world. I wish you all the continued success. We following you. You know how true it is that I'm rocking this Blue Jays hat. That's Conch Pride right there.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's go baseball. This episode is sponsored by Ramona's, promoting Conch Pride since 1971. I'm Joy Newlish, and I appreciate you tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a review, share, and subscribe, because there's a lot of good stuff on tap. You can find more joyful content on YouTube, the socials, or check my website at joynewlish.com. Now go surround yourself with the things that bring joy to your world. Until next time, much love.